Happy morning, students. Welcome to your geography class. Yes, we are doing the chapter Elements of a Map. So we are just left with few topics, that is international dateline and heat zones of the earth. So today we will discuss them in detail. Yes, let's start. Now, when we talk of 180-degree west-east longitude, okay, it is also called as international dateline. Now listen carefully. The international dateline or the 180-degree meridian. Yes, longitudes are also known as meridians. Now what is the meaning of meridian? Meridian means midday. When a longitude faces the sun, okay, the time on the longitude is 12 o'clock. Okay, it is noon at that particular place. So that is why we call longitudes as meridians also. Okay, there's a relationship between a longitude and the time. Clear? Now, the international dateline, it is located at 180 degrees east or west of the Greenwich meridian. Look here. This is the opposite line of 0 degree. Okay, that was prime meridian. Can you see? This line is not a straight line. Yes, we have a reason behind it. Okay, this line is in the form of zigzag. Okay, now what is the reason? Now we know this is which continent? This is Australia. Yes. Now, if this line would have been a straight line, clear, then some part of Australia could have gone to the other hemisphere. Clear? Now, first of all, tell me which hemisphere is this? This is west or east? Yes, now we are on the back side of the prime meridian. Okay, so this part is now east and this part is west. Okay, now Auckland, we know it is part of Australia. So wherever land area is there, this line is drawn zigzag. Why? Because when we cross this line, the date changes. That is why the name given to it as international dateline. Try to understand. The international dateline or 180-degree meridian with which you write neither E or W because both 180-degree east and 180-degree west lines of longitudes are one and the same line helps to determine day and date. At this line, the day and date change because there is a time difference of 24 hours or 1 day between its two sides. Okay, if this line would have been straight, here in Australia, there would be 2 dates. Okay, at this line, the day and date change because there is a time difference of 24 hours or 1 day between its two sides and the day and date change the moment when one crosses this line. So, how do we define ideal, that is international date line? It is an imaginary line of longitude that differentiates between two different days. Now look at this diagram. You can have a clear view of international date line. This line which is zigzag. Okay, so it is straight where there is no land area in between, only there is water. Okay, but wherever some islands are there belonging to a particular country or a continent, this line is made zigzag so that one particular country should have only one date. Clear? Because as we cross this international date line, the date changes. So as we know, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. This adds up to a difference of 24 hours or 1 day between east and west of 180-degree line of longitude. In other words, if a traveler crossing the date line from east to west, he or she loses a day, and while crossing the date line from west to east, she gains a day. Now try to understand from the figure. Now we know this is the back side of 0 degree, that is prime meridian. So here you can see this part is west and this part is east. Clear? So as you know, sun rises in the east. So which part will experience day earlier? That is the eastern hemisphere. Okay, so here a day has been added. Okay, but as it will take time, okay, 24 hours for the sun to rise in the western hemisphere. So what will happen? There will be a difference of one whole day. So it is behind, and this eastern hemisphere is ahead. So because of this international dateline, okay, there is a difference of 24 hours between this area and this area. So if it happens on same landmass, then what will happen? Then same place would have different dates in the same day. So international dateline has drawn to unite the world's timetable and date to maintain uniformity across the globe. So international dateline marks the place where each day officially begins. At the international dateline, the west side of the line has been always one day ahead of the east side, no matter what time of day it is when the line crossed. Hope you have understood that why international dateline is not a straight line. So, when you cross the international dateline from west to east, you subtract a day, and if you cross the line from east to west, you add a day. Now you can see here on the map also, international dateline looks like this. Okay, so wherever land area is there, it is made in the form of a zigzag. Clear? So that whatever area, suppose this part of Australia, okay, it should also have the same date. The international dateline is an imaginary line on Earth's surface defining the boundary between one day and the next. Now let's have a look on the intersection of latitudes and longitudes, because now you know what are latitudes and longitudes. So here you can see how latitudes and longitudes, okay, they are getting intersected. Clear? Yes, and that helps us to locate a particular place. Now, the major lines of latitudes, okay, we have already discussed equator, Tropic of Cancer, Arctic Circle. Then we have here North Pole and here South Pole. And in the southern hemisphere, we have Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle. Now, why these lines we call as important lines of latitudes? Because they divide the Earth into different heat zones. Now, there are three distinct heat zones or temperature zones on the surface of the Earth, divided on the basis of the heat received from the sun. They are, yes, they are the torrid zone, temperate zone, and the frigid zone. Now let's talk about torrid zone. It lies between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. Okay. Now also we call it as 23.5 degree north and 23.5 degree south latitude. This zone receives the direct rays of the sun all year round. It is the hottest zone. Clear? There is very little difference between summer and winter temperatures in this zone. Okay, because it is always getting the direct heat of the sun. The direct heat of the sun, or you can say the vertical rays of the sun, do not go beyond Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So what happens beyond Tropic of Cancer? Okay, the rays of the sun, they are slanting. Clear? Not vertical. Similarly, beyond Tropic of Capricorn also the rays of the sun, they become slanting. Now next is temperate zone. Okay, can you see this green part here? One is between Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle. In the southern hemisphere, we have between Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle. Now, what is the meaning of temperate? Temperate means moderate, not very hot, not very cold. So the north temperate zone, this one, lies between Tropic of Cancer, that is 23.5 degree north, and Arctic Circle, that is 66.5 degree north. The south temperate zone lies between Tropic of Capricorn here, okay, and Tropic of Capricorn is 23.5 degrees south, and Antarctic Circle, that is 66.5 degrees south latitude. So this is temperate zone. Clear? The sun is never overhead in these regions. These are the most comfortable zones to live in, as they are neither too hot nor too cold. Now let's talk about the North Frigid Zone and South Frigid Zone. So you can say these are the coldest part of the Earth. The North Frigid Zone lies between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole. Okay, this is our North Pole, 90 degree north. The South Frigid Zone, okay, it lies between Antarctic Circle and the South Pole, that is 90 degrees south. The rays of the sun are very slanted here and are therefore very weak. Clear? So when a direct heat of the sun is falling, what happens? Intensity of heat is more. Okay, we can compare during the day also. At 12 o'clock, what happens? The sun is overhead, so it is the hottest part of the day. But in the morning and evening, we are getting the slanting rays of the sun. Clear? Because the sun is at a particular angle. So what happens in those phases of the day? Okay, those are not very hot, they're little cooler. Yeah, similarly, it happens here when the rays of the sun are slanting, so the areas are the cold areas. So the intensity of heat is less here. So these are the coldest zones. In summer, the sun does not set completely, while in winter, the sun does not rise completely in the polar areas. Okay, so these are the coldest parts of the Earth. I hope you have understood the different heat zones on the Earth. Okay, this is the torrid zone between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. That is the hottest part of the Earth. Then we have temperate zone in the northern hemisphere between Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle. Then a temperate zone in the southern hemisphere between Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle. Then we have North Frigid Zone between Arctic Circle and North Pole. Then we have South Frigid Zone between Antarctic Circle and the South Pole. Clear? So the topics which we covered today, they were latitudes and longitudes in detail, and how these important latitudes, they divide the Earth into different heat zones. Clear? So yes, students, I hope you have understood all the elements of a map till now. That's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.